3 years ago, I bought this Rolex Submariner for $42,000. I thought I was making a smart investment. 6 months later, I tried to sell it. Guess what the dealer offered me? $28,000. I lost 14 grand in half a year. That's when I realized something. The luxury watch industry is running one of the most brilliant marketing schemes in history, and most buyers have no idea what they're really paying for. This Seco diver costs $500 and keeps better time than my Rolex. So what the hell justifies an 80 times price difference? Over the next 14 minutes, I'm going to show you the actual manufacturing costs, expose the markup nobody talks about, and reveal which watches are genuine investments versus which ones will destroy your bank account. Some of this made me angry. Some of it made me respect these brands even more. Let's get into it. Here's the number that brands pray you never learn. According to a 2022 Morgan Stanley Luxury Goods report, the average luxury watch sells for 8 to 12 times its manufacturing cost. Let me show you what that actually means with real examples. A $10,000 Omega Seamaster? Manufacturing cost? Roughly $1,200. A $30,000 Rolex Submariner? Production cost? Approximately $4,000. A $150,000 Patek Philippe Nautilus? They're spending maybe $20,000 to make it. Now, before you grab your pitchfork, here's what's critical to understand. Manufacturing cost and actual value are completely different things. When you buy a Porsche, you're not just paying for metal and bolts. When you buy a luxury watch, you're not just paying for springs and gears. But here's where it gets interesting and controversial. I spent 2 years interviewing watchmakers, dealers, and collectors. I'm going to break down exactly where your money goes, and then you can decide for yourself if it's worth it. Because unlike every other video on this topic, I'm not going to tell you luxury watches are either totally justified or complete scams. The truth is way more complicated. Let's start with the tangible stuff. What physically goes into one of these watches. And I'm going to show you both sides, what brands want you to believe and what's actually true. The movement, the engine inside. High-end brands develop in-house movements with 300-plus components, each smaller than a grain of rice. A master watchmaker spends 40 to 60 hours hand-assembling a single watch. In Switzerland, these craftsmen earn $70,000 to $100,000 annually after decades of training. Here's a visual. Pick up your phone. Now imagine assembling something half that size with tweezers, where a single speck of dust ruins months of work. That's what we're talking about. But here's the reality check. Most luxury brands don't even make their own movements. They buy them from ETA or Sellita, the same suppliers that sell to $500 watches. Omega, Breitling, even Tag Heuer, most of their catalog uses modified, outsourced movements. Only the top tier, Rolex, Patek, AP, Vacheron, actually manufacture everything in-house. Materials, what it's actually made of. Rolex uses 904L stainless steel instead of standard 316L. It's more corrosion-resistant and harder to machine, which increases costs by about 30%. The crystal? Scratch-resistant sapphire that costs $60 to $80 versus $2 mineral glass. Precious metals? 18-karat gold, platinum. These are real and they're expensive. Quality control, the Swiss chronometer. Standard. To earn chronometer certification, a watch undergoes 15 days of testing in 5 positions at 3 temperatures. It must maintain accuracy within -4 to +6 seconds per day. Every piece gets pressure tested to 300 meters, shock tested, and examined under microscopes. This isn't iPhone assembly. Tolerances are measured in microns. Here's my take. The craftsmanship is real. The precision is genuine. But, and this is important, a $500 Seco gets 90% of the way there at 1/80th of the price. That last 10% of perfection, that's where the exponential cost comes in. Whether that matters to you is a personal decision. Now let's talk about what you don't see, and this is where things get controversial. Research and development. Developing a new movement from scratch costs $5 to $15 million and takes 5 to 10 years. Patek Philippe has been around since 1839. That's 185 years of accumulated innovation, patents, and institutional knowledge. When you buy their watch, you're paying for that legacy. But let's be honest. Does heritage actually matter? If Patek invented a groundbreaking escapement in 1889, how does that benefit you in 2024? It doesn't. Heritage is mostly marketing. What does matter is this. Brands with long histories have proven they'll service your watch for decades. Rolex will restore a 1960s Submariner using archived parts. That's worth something. The retail experience. Walk into a Rolex boutique on Fifth Avenue or Bond Street. You're looking at $10 million real estate, staff trained for months on horology and history, leather chairs, champagne. That's not free. Industry estimates put boutique overhead at 15 to 20% of retail price. Marketing. The millions you never see. Rolex sponsors Formula One, Wimbledon, golf majors. Omega is the Olympic timekeeper. Tag Heuer pays footballers and racing drivers. Annual marketing budgets, $50 to $100 million for top brands. When Roger Federer wears a Rolex, that endorsement costs 8 figures. Now here's the manipulation, and this pisses me off. Artificial scarcity? Rolex could triple Submariner production tomorrow. They have the factories, the craftsmen, the capacity, but they don't. Why? Because scarcity creates desire. You can't walk into a Rolex dealer and buy a Submariner or Daytona. You get put on a waiting list. But here's the dirty secret. There's no actual list. It's relationship-based. Spend 50 grand on watches you don't want, suddenly that Submariner becomes available. Meanwhile, the gray market, unauthorized dealers, has plenty of stock at 30 to 40% markups. So the watches exist. Rolex just restricts who gets them and when. It's brilliant business. It's also infuriating if you're a genuine buyer. After-sales service. Most luxury brands offer lifetime servicing. Archives, parts inventory, skilled technicians for 60-year-old models. A Rolex service costs $800 to $1,500 every 5 to 7 years. That infrastructure is expensive to maintain. My verdict on hidden costs. Some are legitimate, R&D, quality control, servicing. Some are debatable, retail experience, marketing. And some, like artificial scarcity, are straight-up market manipulation that benefits the brand at your expense. All right, let's address the elephant in the room. Are luxury watches investments? The short answer, no. The nuanced answer, sometimes, but you need to know exactly what you're doing. Here's the brand hierarchy for value retention. Tier 1, actually appreciate. Rolex sports models, Submariner, Daytona, GMT Master, Patek Philippe, especially Nautilus and Aquanaut, Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. These hold value or increase. Example, a stainless steel Rolex Daytona cost $14,000 in 2015. Today, $40,000 on the secondary market. A Patek Nautilus 5711 went from $30,000 in 2015 to $150,000 before discontinuation. Tier 2, break even or slight loss. Rolex Datejust, Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean, Cartier Santos. You'll lose 10 to 20% when you sell. Tier 3, depreciation disaster. Breitling, Tag Heuer, Panerai, Hublot, most Omega models. Buy for $6,000, sell for $3,500. 40 to 50% loss the moment you leave the boutique. What actually determines value? Condition and documentation are everything. A Rolex with original box, papers, and service history is worth 30 to 40% more than the same watch without papers. Unpolished case? Premium. Original bracelet? Premium. Hell, even keeping the plastic protective stickers adds value. Here's what nobody tells you. Only about 5% of luxury watches appreciate. The other 95% lose money. The industry pushes the investment narrative because it helps them sell watches. But they're selling you a dream that statistically won't come true. When does it make sense to view watches as investments? If you're spending $50,000 or more, buying at retail from authorized dealers, buying proven models, Daytona, Nautilus, Royal Oak, and you're willing to hold for 5 to 10 years. Even then, you're competing with professional flippers and gray market dealers who have inside connections. My recommendation: buy because you love it. If it holds value, great. If it appreciates, even better. But if you're buying purely as an investment, put your money in index funds. You'll sleep better. Let's cut through everything and get practical. Should you buy a luxury watch? Here's my framework. Don't buy if you're stretching your budget. If a $10,000 watch impacts your financial stability, don't do it. You think it's a guaranteed investment? It's not. You're buying purely for status or because Instagram made you want it. You don't actually care about watches and just want a Rolex. Do buy if you genuinely appreciate mechanical engineering and horology. You can comfortably afford it, meaning you could lose the entire value tomorrow and be okay. You've researched what you're buying and understand the market. You'll actually wear it and enjoy it. Here's the brutal truth about what you're actually paying for. Let me break down a $10,000 luxury watch. Materials, $200. Skilled labor, $1,800. Quality control and testing, $400. Brand value, marketing, retail overhead, and profit margin, $6,600. Yes, 66% is markup, but here's why people still buy them. Emotional value. A luxury watch isn't a rational purchase. It's about how you feel when you look at your wrist. It's celebrating a milestone, passing something to your kids, or appreciating mechanical beauty in a digital world. It's the difference between a Toyota and a Ferrari. Both get you to work. One does it with soul. If you're buying your first luxury watch, here's my advice. Entry luxury, $3,000, $8,000. Omega Seamaster, Tudor Black Bay, entry Rolex Oyster Perpetual. Solid Swiss craftsmanship, significant depreciation, but you're getting genuine quality. High luxury, $10,000, $30,000. Rolex Submariner, Explorer, GMT Master 2. These hold value better and give you the real deal experience. Investment grade, $50,000 plus. Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, rare Rolex models. This is where appreciation happens, but you need serious capital and knowledge. The smartest move? Buy pre-owned from reputable dealers. Let someone else take the depreciation hit. A 3-year-old Omega Seamaster that retailed for $6,000? You'll find it for $4,000 in mint condition. That's 40% of your money saved instantly. So here's where we land. Luxury watches have massive markups. That's undeniable. But some of that markup is justified. Precision engineering, quality control, lifetime servicing. Some of it is branding and marketing, and some of it is artificial scarcity and market manipulation. You're not crazy for wanting one. You're also not crazy for thinking they're overpriced. Both things can be true. My position after 3 years of research. 80% of luxury watches are terrible financial value, but that 20%? If you choose wisely, buy what you love, and go in with realistic expectations, absolutely worth it. Next week, I'm breaking down the 10 watches that actually hold their value versus the 10 that tank the hardest. I'm also covering gray market versus authorized dealers and how to negotiate. You'll want to see that before spending a dime. Here's what I need from you. Drop a comment with your budget and what you value most. Craftsmanship, investment potential, brand prestige, or something else. And I'll reply with 3 specific watches you should consider. I respond to every comment personally. If this video gave you clarity on luxury watch pricing, hit subscribe so you catch next week's deep dive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.